everyone in the room right now?
That I was told outside of the thing.
Okay.
So I was okay with saying this.
Cool. But we still do have a discussion question. We're just going to have to be a little bit careful with it. After having spent time with graphics cards throughout the years, do you agree with the mindset that these are fake frames and they don't count for the performance of the card? Initial thoughts.
No.
Okay.
Not completely.
Okay, that sounds like a more... Are you able to elaborate any more right now?
So this is something that they've said before. This wasn't just said anything. So NVIDIA claims that 80% RTX, 80% parallel DLSS. Now, I tried to get an extrapolation. It's something that I didn't get. Okay, boy. They said maybe, and they weren't 100% sure, so I'm not sure. But what I was kind of trying to figure out is like, okay, RTX, so this goes back to 2006, right? So you can play without the game for a period. They don't care at all. 2060 is the entry level. So 2060. Yeah. Is that yeah. That's an interesting question. If I have 4090, and if you could reach maybe 2 ounce of races here, I was prepared for $2,000 and buy one. So you're okay, boy. I would probably if I had a 360 here, yeah. You said gotcha. That's it. Somewhere else. I think that's honestly, and this is where I said like the maybe thing, because I think that come on. And that's fair enough. And that's fair enough because I think there's a time and place. I think there's validity too, because I'm going to make compromises. In order to get the kind of frame rate that I want, I'm going to have to turn off some of the things and stuff. Whereas if someone else says, hey, look, I want to see what I can be, and I don't need, whether it's you're trading off a competitive edge from visuals, or you're trading off, vertical effects for, and sharpness in the rendered image, whatever, right? Whatever it is that's your trade-off, that's your trade-off, and I don't think that one is right, absolutely. Yes. And absolutely. Yeah. But in terms of my feelings about it, $2,000 I haven't seen the faces fall. Employees now through numbered more than one generation. I'm just trying to guess, but this is of DLSS. I have watched them. Think it's like basically perfect. Be confident. Watch me. Literally, it wasn't this launch. It was 4000 series Super launch. They had two demo systems right next to each other. One that was using DLSS and one that wasn't. One that was with frame They didn't have like FPS counters, and they were like, "Can you tell which one?" And immediately I was like, "This one." And they're like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "Because it's my job."
Yeah.
4000 series Super launch. They had two demo systems right next to each other. One that was using DLSS and one that wasn't. And I believe it was with frame gen. And they didn't have like FPS counters. And they were like, "Can you tell which one?" And immediately I was like, "This one." And they're like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "Because it's my job."
Yeah.
It is literally my job to be able to tell the difference between this stuff for a living. With that said, it can be my job to know that stuff, and I can still recognize that my brother-in-law isn't going to be able to tell and isn't going to care and would actually probably prefer the smoother experience.
Yeah. And like,
but that's not me.
Zenith in chat said latency is what matters most. It's like, no, not necessarily. Not always.
And I mean,
for you.
And
Like for in the games that you play.
there was something I really liked too. Nameless Ted in the Floatplane chat says all frames are fake. Raster is fake. AI generated is fake.
Shaders.
And this is a really, really good point that I feel like some people are missing. This is the forest that I feel like some people are missing through the trees here. And I want to bring us back to a video that we did a couple of years ago called "I'm Embarrassed I Didn't Think of This: Asynchronous Reprojection." This blew my absolute fucking mind. You want to talk about fake frames? This blew me away because as someone who had kind of fallen out of paying attention to VR that closely, it wasn't something that I was familiar with up until we made this video. So this was a demo that I was trying to remember what the guy. Yeah, Comrade Stinger, and 2-Click Phillip. Okay, or 2-Clicks Phillip. These guys made a couple of little videos, feature upscaling async reprojection outside of VR, and we basically got our hands on their demos and showed how, what it looks like when you're rendering this at without it. Okay, hold on. Or wait, is this with it? Hold on. Okay, so basically what it is it's a way of. Here we go. Here we've got it on. So this is basically using a whole bunch of data from the previous frame to fill in, and I'm really hazy on the details now because it was 2 years ago we made that video, and I basically learned all about it for that video, and then because I'm not a game developer and I don't work on graphics drivers and GPU architecture, I unlearned it because I don't need it until I need it again. But the long story short is that basically it only bothers, it will just keep displaying old data, and then anytime you move and reveal something that was occluded, it will bother to render that, and that will be done at your true right, but your inputs are at whatever elevated frame rate you just decide, because it's just reusing it at whatever maximum refresh rate your monitor can run it. And it feels great. You can actually watch people. In the video, we've got people doing blind frame rate tests. Okay? To me, this feels like 60. Do you think anything changed? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, this is 60. So these are, we specifically picked like gamers from the team. Yep, can very much tell. Okay. And then we're going to turn it up. Hold on, where do we turn it up? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Okay. Oh, come on, man. Whatever. The point is, it's really cool. I'm sorry, this was a lame finish to this conversation. And what I'm trying to say is, one of the biggest issues with running at a lower frame rate, and one of the biggest issues with DLSS and frame gen, is latency. And async reprojection is a way that you can have a very fake frame, like literally just reused visual data from the previous frame that feels very low latency, and unless you're moving in specific ways, is very hard to discern, even for, real gamers.
And I can't talk too much about the tech stuff, but I mean, it's been pretty obvious for a long time from all camps, right? From Intel's camp, AMD's camp, NVIDIA's camp, that this is the direction that things are going in. NVIDIA has that quote that 80% of RTX gamers are turning DLSS on, which is an absurd number.
I mean, NVIDIA definitely...
I'm wondering where they pulled that from. Are they getting that information from game devs? Are they getting that information from GeForce Experience or GeForce, whatever it's called now, NVIDIA app?
GeForce Experience.
It's NVIDIA app.
Sure.
Whatever. Are they? Is that like? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the lines are necessarily drawn there, but that's a really high percentage.
Yeah, I mean, games are enabling it by default. So, like, most people, and that's the thing that the enthusiast community doesn't realize, is most people literally are not going to touch the game settings panel.
Yeah.
There's a reason they suck.
So if it's on by default,
It's because
then-
only some nerd is going to go in there and change anything. And I get it. I forget who I was having this conversation with recently about how they were blown away at how little, like, someone in their life, cared about these details. Like, think about, I mean, it's the classic, like...
sure, there's an example of that for that person.
Every Thanksgiving, right? Every Thanksgiving, there's the annual reminder to, when you visit your relatives, turn off the stupid motion smoothing, because most people literally don't even open the site. Like, my grandparents don't even know where it is. They don't know how to access it on their TV.
But that being said, 80% of gamers turn on DLSS. They don't necessarily. There's an example of that for that person.
Every Thanksgiving, right? Every Thanksgiving, there's the annual reminder to, when you visit your relatives, turn off the stupid motion smoothing, because most people literally don't even open a settings menu. Like, my grandparents don't even know where it is. They don't know how to access it on their TV.
But that being said, 80% of gamers turn on DLSS. They don't necessarily turn on DLSS all the time.
Sure.
And this is where I keep going back to, like, the right tool for the right job thing, where, like, I think there's games and I think there's scenarios where you're not going to want any form of, you don't want DLSS, you don't want frame gen, you don't want anything.
I'm playing, like, a competitive game, absolutely.
Yeah. Right?
Absolutely, I don't want...
But then, looking at, one of the experiences.
Okay.
I think I can talk about it, but I'm not certain, so I'm just gonna not.
Yeah.
Looking at one of the experiences with it completely off versus with it completely on. Like, this is where.
Hey, all you boys and girls out there, are you ready for winter Mahoney time? Okay, then let's sing our theme song. Hey, hurrah! I'm glad everybody's here. Come on, let's give a cheer. Let's hear the secret password. It's Scotty Whitey Doo-Doo. Okay, turn it down, everyone. Turn it down. Now, here we go. Once again, I call the meeting of the Gary Mahoney Club to order. Oh, hey, take it easy with that there gravel, will you? And now, will you get me the minutes? Mr. Winkle, what is it, Knucklehead? Did you hear what he said? Yeah, get the minutes. Oh, yeah, we get the, where are they? Carry on, Jerry. Today, as usual, we're going to have a bunch of Bugs Bunny cartoons in full color. Knucklehead, will you get them? Okay, I'm looking for them. Oh, here they are, kiddo. Here they are. What's that? Oh, he said get the mittens, didn't he? Not the mittens. Boys and girls, we'll be right back after this message. Look, let's get it straight. No, will you get him in this minute?
I also, this is where communicating with this stuff gets really funky though, because I don't think out there. You can't do like the hardest possible settings and then turn on DLSS and 4x frame gen and just put them side by side and be like, this is fair. I don't think that's true. No, I think you should go for like more of a frame rate target or something. Yeah. And without those tools, put on the best things you can while hitting that frame rate.
And then say, hey, does this look okay to you?
Yeah.
Because for me, a lot of the time, I mean, we did this video a while back on ultra settings are kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of the time, for that extra 3% more realism, it is costing you double the GPU horsepower, and that's a way that, you know, for my part, medium to high in a lot of modern games
Almost always great.
I can't really tell. And a big part of the reason for that is that game developers are explicitly, it's not like they hide this. They're explicitly optimizing their games for whatever the current generation console is. Sure. And the current generation console, at the very, very, very highest end, is a PS5 Pro, which is equivalent to what, like a 7800 XT or something like that? Which is a very powerful GPU, right? It's a marvel of modern engineering. But what it isn't is a 4090 or a 5090, right?
So ultimately, I think just dismissing this tech is the wrong take. I also think that saying that a 5070 is a 4090 is just like clearly, obviously.
Yes.
Like these things can both be true.
Both of those things are true.
I don't think that we should look at frame gen and be like, this is stupid and dumb and we should all ignore this collectively. Because no, I think it is cool and it has applications. Really, honestly, the tech that they're talking about, that I can't talk about right now, okay, super impressive. Okay. But it kind of feels like a DLC more than a new graphics card launch. It's still super cool. 5090's a wicked card, but like, it's $2,000. That's a lot.
I've got a couple of people asking me, okay, Linus, now that you're outside of the NVIDIA room, right, what can you say about the latency
I don't think you hold
of the frame? I didn't hold anything.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta, okay. This is something.
I don't think them being there literally mattered at all.
This is something that a lot of people, I feel like, don't understand about this early access. Like, I saw a number of comments about this on the AMD Ryzen AI Max Plus video that I did in this listen to for that G13 gaming tablet. It's like, people are like, it's scam. This is even a good review, and like, you know, some other publication, you want to get a review. These products aren't out.
Yep.
Only some market has gotten listed. The fact that we were able to game on these is a interesting and extremely great because it gives us more information than just a spec sheet.
They're also
the alternate.
surprisingly open to this.
Yeah.
Like, quite openly docked on NVIDIA and a lot of
Yep.
the past. This one in general was very good. Yeah, it was super good. No conversation, they see. The RTX 5070 is 4090 performance thing, it was in the keynote and whatever, but once we got past that, they were super honest, super open.
Yep.
So they could go.
Yeah, and the fact that I was able to install my own, they were like, and realistically, the only reason that we only ran one day was because the internet connectivity was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was not it's substantially frozen the side
There, boy.
of that game at all, because I had to send Dylan from the performance team on a quest to go copy game files to an SSD because it seems was not set up to run any games on it. We got special permission to run back into code. And it's amazing how people will like get these conspiracy theories. Like, working scene, if each were one, and someone else was using the LTP benchmark as well, and I didn't want to pick them off. So I bought the game on my account, they're sitting in the booth, and I fired up the fucking game. That's it. Calm the fuck down, you know? But people are looking so hard for a conspiracy. But what's actually happening is, and I even laid this out, like we're coming back to the NVIDIA booth, we're going to talk about Ryzen 9. So I went back to the NVIDIA demo that I did. We're looking so hard for the conspiracy, but I laid it all out. I'm not allowed to change the resolution. Are we allowed to show you guys the settings? Yes. Unbelievable.
I'm very surprised they let you do that.
Considering the pool, considering how high level the video was,
Yeah.
the fact that I was able to show you guys the settings we were running at is the only reason we've been able to have these conversations about how NVIDIA cherry-picked the settings, because otherwise we wouldn't even know. Don't ruin this for next time.
I
Recognize the kit.
I used to think of this wizard all the time, but because of the impact of what they do, because like they were. This is the first time in a really long time that they really open and allow this level of system.
Like a sick owl.
Guys, about the right stuff. The things you really do, 100%.
Yeah, that's it, boy.
70 is equal to a 40, 90, whatever thing. Yeah. Say, hey, that's misleading.
Yeah.
Say that's misleading. Say you don't agree. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But don't be like, yeah, NVIDIA, full performance review. Obviously not, you guys. There's still media briefings that need to be done. Everybody needs time to test and benchmark these things in their own labs.
And with us that I can't really talk about because they brought a huge amount of experience. And it was discussion about like technology, but also really open about like how do you test this stuff? Because this generation, more than I've been in the game for a long time, so maybe it's all state, but it feels pretty neat. More than many previous, is going to be really new to test. And we always say this, but like look at multiple reviews. This time more than like any. Because there's going to be a lot of weird stuff. Like we're going back to like many generations in the past where we're talking about image quality differences between the graphics card brands. Pixel peaking things, like the DLSS quality of different games is going to be up and down depending on different variables. Like this is going to be very. In some ways, what's happening now is such a time as a flat social moment because there was only a really grand scheme of things, small window where everyone was expected to render the game the same way. Right? Before that, it was everything from, driving sheets and anti-aliasing shortcuts and then you get back even further and everyone's using like completely different APIs even wide and stuff like that. And then after that, you've got regular proprietary implementations of things like AeroWorks or whatever else. This expectation we have that everyone will render it exactly the same way is actually in some ways a very false expectation. It never existed before that. And I gotta be honest with you guys, like it or don't like it, that's totally valid, but it's never happened.
There we go.
Yeah. I also want to jump in. Nick from the labs commented saying, I did not walk away from the conversation with NVIDIA without a decent appreciation. And honestly, I completely agree. Yeah. The event that they held while he was there, not the keynote, the event after that was I'll say this, NVIDIA, the more dominant they've gotten, in some ways, the more arrogant they've gotten, and the more controlling they've gotten, but the more open in some other ways they have also gotten. I don't know that those things are, I understand they're correlated.
I don't think there's causation. Yeah. I'm just saying their dominance is correlated to both of those other things.
Yeah. I think there's other reasons why. I don't know if we want to get into those.
Like things like PCAT, so their power monitoring tools. Things like FCAT, their frame time monitoring tools. That obviously they would have had as internal tools before, but releasing those to reviewers is such a just like slap within tools that.
Reasons why. I don't know if we want to get into those.
Things like PCAT, so their power monitoring tools. Things like FCAT, their frame time monitoring tools. That obviously they would have had as internal tools before, but releasing those to reviewers is such a just like slapping your gigantic gong on the table move, going, we want to enable reviewers to better test this stuff because we know that if they test it properly, we are not only so much better today, but we're going to be so much better forever that we want everyone to have better tools to know it. That is such a strong thing on the table move. Like, it's
Good
crazy.
evening, Arthur.
Anyway,
Who else
Haven't
in
received
the
anything
history
from
of
you in a while, Mr. Morgan.
has ever done this? Can you imagine?
you won't
Can
be
you
no
dream
$3
of it?
whore.
Being
You're
like,
gonna be a
This is going in the
our
post.
$5
cars
whore
are
or
so
a
much more
housemaid.
efficient and
Them's
so much
dreams.
faster than anyone else's.
You boys and I know that ain't
Okay,
never
then.
gonna happen.
Until the end of
She'll
time, that we are
down her
literally
back
going
at the
to
hands of
develop
some
a
monster in the
better
back room
dyno,
of some
and we're
no-name
literally
saloon.
going to
They
equip
sure as shit
the
as
entire
crap.
reviewer
But it
sphere
damn near
with
made her
particulate
day.
matter testing
And she's
equipment
out there
so that
smiling,
so
so
you can
cheer
hold us
up.
accountable
That's
in the
all I'm
future
saying.
if we ever fall off this podium that we sit atop.
This'll help the stew.
Imagine that. Nobody does that. That's crazy. Nobody does
All
that.
right, let's see what we got.
Except in video. However, I've spoken at length on this show about the way that NVIDIA also withholds information. Treats
Many
partners
thanks,
like
Mr. Morgan.
non-partners. Obfuscates. I think, and I told them this
Mr.
to their
Morgan.
face. I stopped by the event.
I've come up with some ideas for ways we could improve things around here if you want to take a
I told
look.
them, I think they've lost a little bit over the years. Like, NVIDIA used to be able to laugh at themselves in a way that I feel like they've kind of lost. And I hope that they take the feedback for what it is. Genuine feedback, not criticism, but feedback. And I hope they can find ways to not take themselves too seriously, not keep everything completely focused on generating shareholder value.
I don't think you're wrong, but I feel like the world and the industry combined.
I think that's me done.
I reckon I need to get my hands on some materials first.
All having the same problem.
That's true. I think that's fair.
I don't know if this is NVIDIA specific. Like, yeah.
That's fair. I think it's bad for shareholders. Yeah.
But yeah, like, genuinely do not watch or read one review for 5,000 views.
Yeah.
Do more than that. At least you do, I would honestly suggest
Hello.
more than that. It's going to be super weird. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what all the different reviewers do to try to find a way to
Oh, Mr. Morgan. I've jotted down a few things that I think could be nice additions around here. Hello,
I'll
John.
tell you that's not the answer. Yeah. But turning them all
Hi there,
off,
Charles.
That's not
that's,
the answer.
that's not a real answer either. And both of those are wrong. What's right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Intel finally launched their anticipated Arc B580 GPU this Thursday, and across the board, reviewers and the public are impressed.
Yeah.
It is built on the latest generation of Intel's Xe architecture and provides a great value with 12 gigs of VRAM, outstanding 1080p performance, and even strong performance at 1440p. In our testing, it provided a 20% uplift over the RTX 4060, while
Remember,
undercutting the
you won't
4060
find
in price.
something like this anywhere else.
$249, the card offers a compelling value if
How's it
you
going?
can get one.
One note I will put out there is
You'll
some
need to
other
bring me the right
reviewers, we
materials
don't
first,
always
Mr.
test the
Morgan.
same games, we don't always test the same games in the same way. Some other reviewers. My own ass, you know that?
Hey, Jackie.
I didn't know this as far as I'm willing.
No.
Hi, John.
1,000% sure which you're real driving that car.
1,000%? No. Fucking $1,000,000%. Let me tell you something. He's lucky I ain't no rat fuck. Because the law knows that was no random.
Hey, we'll start talking foolish. We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry. Hey, am I right, Vince?
Look, yeah, old school.
Okay, good.
So you did see your mom? I hear she's upstairs.
No, I came here to see you, you prick.
That's okay. Go do what you gotta do.
Thought I told you to back the fuck off Beansy.
I did. Then I put it in drive.
Oh, you think this is funny? That guy might never walk again. Did you know that? And for what? Because he didn't duke you enough? Because he didn't visit you in the can? When's the last time you visited anybody in the can, Richie? When's the last time you gave a fuck about anybody with Richie Aprile? Do you remember one thing this you better hear? You want to talk about this old school bullshit about the rules? Well, here's a rule you might remember. I'm the fucking one who calls the shots. And you better pay me the respect that I gave your brother, or we're gonna have a problem. A bad one. Now get the fuck out of here.
All right, Tony.
Yeah. All right. Hey, how you doing? Good. I'll open it up and you change all the locks. Okay. You. Me fucking weeks it takes you to put me on your visitors list?
Okay, I need to get some sleep.
This fucks listen to everything.
My nephew's visiting his uncle. Who loves him?
I got nothing to say to you.
Like the first time, I don't want to talk about it.
I'm talking to my grandma. But she pushes those spots. She's a big baby.
This is my house. How many times I gotta say it?
Thank you, Il Duce.
You got something to say. The little girl's about to get a license. Might want to use one of those cars in the driveway in the next 100 years.
It's my fault, man. I wasn't sensitive to his feelings.
Thank you.
You see that? You see how easy that was? So, Mr. Delegated Power of Attorney, have you given it any thought? Can my girlfriend have the listing? You know, the house.
As long as it gets sold, I don't give a fuck who lives here.
Hey, what did one prick say to the other prick? You see that? You see what happens with you cursing at the dinner table? over 25 to drive with. They still never let them know you drove by some pot, which should be legal. Don't even know what's
Appreciate it, Pearson.
like living on a stop sign. People don't think you can talk to you. It's so obnoxious. He thinks it's drunk.
Looking good?
The plates leave New Jersey and it's threatened by anybody with
There,
broken
old fella.
strings. Super challenge. How about grammar in that rehab center? No, I'm trying to get her here, but I got so much homework, plus all this community service to do. Think about getting into a decent college.
Really, I was.
I've been through the
I
whole
forgot that I was doing
I'm
God's
trying
work
pretty well, don't
and
you?
began to think
Hold on.
that I was
What is she into? I don't know.
what a
Negativity?
terrible,
Feeling
arrogant
good.
fool I
There must be
was.
something that gives
A
us
man
pleasure.
of God.
Isn't there anything she likes doing?
And then
Like,
I met that little, sticky, black, death-toast little lumps of hell. Just a little back pain. Oh, this'll make it feel better. A gift from the gods. And then it got me by the throat. At least forgive me because all the silly things I do, all the lying and the scheming, somehow it isn't me. Or if it is, it isn't all of me. There's a different, better me stuck inside of here. Dutch sees it. And that's why he puts up with me when I'm sure the rest of you would cast me adrift. And that's why I love him. Because he can forgive.
Game franchises have multiple entries or sequels, and every so often, one of them comes along and kills off or severely damages an entire franchise. Here are 10 examples of that. Fair warning, this video is a little bit of a bite. Let's get started off with number 10 and talk about Medal of Honor. This is a now
You little punk.
Hey, what did I do?
Fuck you, Lenny. How's that? Oh, okay. Okay, let's see.
Oh, hey, Arthur.
Yeah.
So, tell me, is your people, Jacobites or English lovers, Arthur? My people were peasants. We had no time for politics.
My dad would say that no politics was politics.
That old world bullshit, it ain't got no place here.
Why? Because there ain't no judgment here. Most folks hate the Negroes, they hate the Redskins, the Jews, even us Irish. You ain't so free of politics.
I hate everyone just the same.
Well, in that case, you're gonna want what I just found for us.
What's that?
I was riding around a couple of days back. I've come across this whole cabin. A couple of fuckers lazing about outside all liquored up. I didn't think nothing of it. But then I come across this hunter down by the river. He tells me they're a stick-up crew. Says they hit a train a couple of days back near Emerald Ranch. Nice fella he was, shared a bottle we did. And I robbed the bastard blind.
You believed him?
No reason not to. If he's right, it'll be a big haul for us. We saw 3 of them, maybe more, but I reckon you and me, we could take them real easy.
All right. What the hell? Let's go check it out.
Damn sons of bitches, think they're mean? They're about to get a lesson in mean.
You just keep your cool, you hear me?
Right, follow me.
It seems like they can put a lot of people. That being said, hopefully, if you look at the beats, we've got a lot of sevens across the board. Not a fully complete disaster or anything like that. But I think the bigger thing we got into is just like the main thing comprehending how the revolution certain things out in the world. You want to see the hopefully documented that the world is just full. And then the architects around are starting to kind of lose the mainstream copyright. They're still out there. People really don't love them, but they don't have the mainstream sound like they used to. I think we are unfortunately going down the waste of now. These things that they kind of have. Next up, number 7 is submitting the Lord of Shadows 2. Now, this released in 2015. It's technically like the last new entry in this series. Depending on who you ask. It definitely took a lot of stuff and moved to the wayside of classic Castlevania games. Really cool refresh.
How far is this place?
Bit of a ride. Not too bad. Back up north the stretch, not far from the state line.
So, what were you doing riding around up there anyway?
Sniffing around, looking for a take. I got a long nose for these things. Duchess always honoured us to get out there and bring in money, ain't he?
And rightly so.
I ain't like some of them others back there, sitting around waiting to be told. I go after them.
I see you sitting around plenty.
I mean, I don't need no coddling like the rest. Dutch knows my value to the cause. As from the moment I met him.
You tried to kill him, if I remember the story right.
And he kept me around, didn't he? He saw something in me. He said as much.
I'm sure. Dutch is good at seeing things in people.
I really think it's time for this thing to return full speed ahead. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
While we're talking about money, you are clear on how this works. We split half.
Can't you just ride with me?
Now, I was saying, we split half, other half goes to the gang. Dutch keeps all our savings hidden in a safe spot outside camp.
Yeah, I know. How many times do you have to tell me? What's that box by his tent for then?
Camp funds, supplies, and the like. The fact you don't know that suggests you clearly ain't put much in it.
I always pay me weight, don't you worry.
You're sure you scoped this place out right?
Yes, see? That's why I wanted you along for this. You're still a doubter. I ain't just some dumb kid. I've lived a lifetime of shit already.
And you sure don't keep it bottled up inside.
What about that train job with the oil wagon? I had a good show in there, didn't I?
You got knocked out.
Ah, that's what you choose to remember. We got paid. We got out of there.
Got knocked out in Blackwater, too, didn't you?
Now that was bloody chaos.
Did you get split off with Mac?
No, didn't see him. I lost your boys at some point when he was getting out of town.
They caught up with Mac a couple of days after. Davey was finished by the time we got up the mountains. Jenny didn't even make it that far.
Those bounty hunters strung me up. Beat me, pulled teeth, burned me feet. I didn't breathe a word about nothing, I swear.
Good.
And it's time folks stop giving Dutch a hard time about all that Blackwater business, if you ask me. Man's not a fortune teller. You can plan, you can use your head. But you never really know what you're walking into.
Yep. Folks always want to blame someone when things go wrong.
Hard left coming up. All right, it's going to be off the road up ahead. Up here, Morgan.
Done overly top moments, shoehorned co-op elements that, yeah, you can say that some of those elements were actually kind of creative, but
These are horses here, go the rest on foot. I want them to hear us coming.
it wasn't scary.
Here, I'll deal with them. Let's make sure we keep one of them alive and tell us where they stashed the money.
Hope you know
Like, oh, that's what people like.
what you're doing.
What's the franchise on his head? Okay. It wasn't being beautiful or anything. It was totally have that. And interestingly enough, the game actually has okay reviews. So if you look at the Metacritic, I mean, like, the review scores are, okay. And the user scores, like, the fan scores are much lower. People are really going for this one. And I don't know if we're going to see Fear ever again. That was just like a special point in time. Man, that original Fear game was now, down to number 4.
There's one on the outside. This is good.
It is.
Leave it to me. I'll do the talking. You hang back.
Sin City was kind of like the harbinger of what was to come with the things with modern games and specifically around the lead up to Sin City 2013. The screenshots, the videos, everything coming out, the game looked absolutely massive and incredible. It seemed as if Maxis and EA were really going for it. It seemed going to be more dynamic, more detailed.
Hey there!
Way more options, kind of different gameplay
Let's just deal with the rest. You're the only one left! Give it up now!
Okay, I give up.
Who's going to tell us where the money stashed now?
Oh, bitch.
Give the place a look and see what we can find.
I heard them. I said, give a fuck. I'm telling you, fucking money there. So get your motherfucker right here. Check this shit out. Bitch.
People that buy it for these things because it's done right. Essentially 2013 was it. And at this point now, what happened at this one? Technically, 7 years now since it broke down in 2015, and that was cited for the reason. And essentially now at this point is kind of just reduced to local and whatever.
Watch out.
Ah, damn it. There ain't much. I'm heading back to camp. Should have kept one alive.
Fuckers. Bitch.
Some people love them, some people hate them, some people like the early ones, some people like the later ones. But Saints Row 3 tried to make all those people happy and ultimately made none of them. The game was completely lifeless, void of charm. It had a cool city, but the stuff you did in it wasn't very fun. It was glitchy, and all the characters you hung out with were complicated and annoying. The game very quickly, publicly failed to meet expectations of the holding company Federation Group. And after that, Volition into parts of Gearbox Entertainment. And of course, when you have a Saints Row at a point at like a 60 on Metacritic and like a 2.5 on User Store, and credit to the developers, they actually supported the post launch. They put out a little bit of stuff, but ultimately nobody cared. It's such a shame. Because like I said, whether you like the early ones, whether you like the later ones, when they went totally crazy, the Saints Row games were special. They were cool for a lot of people for a variety of different reasons, and Saints Row 2022, seemingly will quickly be forgotten by most people. And if you have fun with it, that's you. We're not going to judge you. But it doesn't seem like Volition is making another one anytime soon, and they were good developers for a very long time, and it's a shame.
Okay, back in step. Here on out,
Now, coming down to number 2, Marvel vs. Capcom. And yeah, that was the last one. When was the last time you thought about Marvel vs. Capcom? When was the last time you thought about Marvel vs. Capcom? And it was the 6th mainline entry in the series, which was released in 2017. Just pissed off a lot of players. And there was just a lot of bad PR floating around about it. I mean, specifically what we talked about with a lot of games in this video, a lot of the core elements of Marvel vs. Capcom were diluted, watered down. Stuff was taken away, and ultimately the game was considered playing safe. Now, as someone who's not an experienced fighting game fan, I found it kind of just cool to pick up and play and hunt some people. But the hardcore fighting game community, man, these things live and die by those people, and if they're not happy, that's it for the game. And that was the case with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Not to mention all the other stuff that they pulled with this, like certain locked characters, microtransaction stuff. I believe a really crappy collector's edition that a lot of people don't get off. There's a lot to this one in the news cycle. But ultimately, the game just kind of came and went. And that's how these go. Are we going to see another Marvel vs. Capcom at any point? I don't know. It seems like Marvel is really down the clown with some cool video games again. So maybe, but it has certainly been a while. Marvel vs. Capcom has been dead since number 1, we have Driver 3, or as I like to call it, Drift 3 off. Yes, this is the time where we were putting the numbers in titles of those games and movies. This is very normal at the time, if I'm being totally honest. But still, Driver 3 followed up a pretty fantastic series. The original game was completely released for the original PlayStation, and Driver 2 but after that, the rise of Driver 3 really just kind of thinking about things here. There's a time when we had like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but then also 2040 wasn't really the hype of those original Driver games. And Driver 3 kind of kicked off what would be a very, very slow, years-long decline. To the point where now, we're probably not going to see anything from Driver ever again. Again, I want to point out, Driver San Francisco is very cool. It is totally different. They changed up the series, but it's a unique driving game, and you should still consider checking out. And you should especially check it out because it might be the last Driver game. So, the whole video of the franchise, at least in some way, shape, or form. Now, let us know what you think in the comments about this video, because to be frank, there are a lot more examples that we couldn't fit in this video, and you probably have your own suggestions in the comments, so hit us up and we'll make a part 2. Now, if you would like talking games with us, just yap them for a day, clicking a like button is all you gotta do. It really helps us out. And if you're new, consider subscribing, because we've got videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Let's do something a little bit different today and talk about some of the most disappointing games throughout the last 20 years. We've narrowed it down to one game for each year. Not the worst games ever, but the most disappointing ones. So we can have a little bit more to talk about other than just being bad. We got a lot of bummer games to dive into, so let's start at the top with number 20 and go all the way back 20 years ago to 2003 and talk Batman Dark Tomorrow. Batman Dark Tomorrow was disappointing because, like, if you were in that realm at the time, it felt like a big thing was coming. It felt like a really cool DC Batman game was on the horizon. Apparently, it was initially planned to be a much bigger game. The screenshots and magazines looked really, really cool, and they were going for like a little bit more of a realistic take on Batman. Not the super cheesy type, but also featuring using tons of his gadgets, stealth, villains like Talia, Ra's al Ghul, down to some of the smaller guys like Zaz. And unfortunately, what we got was a busted, boring mess. It made Batman feel like a wet noodle. The camera made the game almost unplayable at times.
Okay there, boy.
And while it wasn't on the level of like Superman 64, it was still absolutely heartbreaking. If you love Batman, you don't want to see him like this. He had a lot of misses in video games, like the Arkham games, but this one just specifically hurt me. It was apparently received so poorly that there were plans to make a PlayStation 2 port version of the game, and it never saw the light of day. They just completely scrapped it. I think that says enough. Next over at number 19, we're jumping to 2004's Fight Club, which, oh boy, where to start with this one? What a time to be alive. Things were very different back then, specifically with movie tie-in games and just complete cash grab. And that's ultimately what Fight Club was really perceived as. What looked cool on the surface, you know, kind of a pretty straightforward, almost Dead or Alive style fighting game with a lot of gore and damage to the characters, and it resulted in kind of this half-assed, half-baked game that kind of lost the whole point of the book, like, completely. So it was based on the movie, but it goes off the rails, specifically with a story mode where you play as just a random made-up character named Hero. They could have done some pretty good commentary there, but it never really amounted to anything. And also, by playing the game, you can unlock Fred Durst as a playable character. Yes, that's where we were in 2004. Ultimately, the theme of the video, again, was not the worst game in the world, but it just really felt like a half-assed attempt to milk everything the movie was worth at the time. Not every movie or book needed to have a video game based on it, especially like when it didn't really make sense. And Fight Club was kind of a good example of that, but I still even think that there is an idea for a true Fight Club game out there. But because of this, we'll probably never see it. Next over at number 18, jumping to 2005, we have Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects. This one is such a disappointment just because it felt like it was going to be a big deal. Marvel's big return to games, it seemed like they were really embracing and doubling down on this, allowing collaborations with EA to happen and like build up new characters and new concepts to inject into the Marvel comic storylines. I mean, like, it had a spin-off kind of like prequel comic series written and made by great craft, so like it had real comic stuff behind behind it, but unfortunately, it just turned out to be a completely forgettable game that just didn't blow us away. When we were kids, yeah, maybe there was a little Stockholm syndrome there. We can say there was a lot of these games that you convince yourself that you really like it.
Come here.
Man, I haven't thought about this game since it released.
Come on.
And that right there is a huge bummer. Like, I mean, these characters didn't ever pop up in anything Marvel at all after this. It could have been so much more, but it kind of left a dark mark on comic book video games for a while, and ultimately seemed like a big old waste of time and money. But hey, what are you going to do? Next, over at number 17, we're jumping to 2006 with Sonic the Hedgehog, which a lot of people now refer to as Sonic 06. For a reason, the game had a reputation for just not being that great. It seemed like it was going to be the big triumphant return of Sonic the Hedgehog for a new platform generation and a little bit of a different tone and seemingly awesome graphics with multiple campaigns for multiple playable, beloved Sonic the Hedgehog characters, an ambitious scope, scale, kind of adventure-style gameplay, and ultimately, when it released, it was rough. It was not super fun. It just seemed kind of confused and lacking in direction. It had some good soundtrack bits here and there. I'll definitely say that. And some people really kind of like the story and the lore. You know, like the whole thing with Sonic falling in love with a human woman. Yeah, that was this one. This is kind of when it seemed like Sonic was really just veering into totally messy territory, and it was a disappointment to see happen in real time. Next, over at number 16, in 2007, we had Hour of Victory. Now, this one is interesting because it hit at a time when Call of Duty was all the rage and people were loving World War II shooters, and we were looking forward to another one. This one was going to be made in Unreal Engine 3. It was a big deal at the time, and just a nice change of pace from Call of Duty. Would have been good, would have been appreciated back then, but unfortunately, this game was a complete failure. Not only did it not look great visually, it just wasn't fun to play. And that's the elements that made it really broken. It also had an acceptable multiplayer, and what was going to be a big failure from Midway. You know, during the struggle. Unfortunately, I guess maybe Hour of Victory was really instantly forgotten. Next over, number 15, in 2008, we had so boy. Kind of like a open adventure, sci-fi mixed with the Norse mythology. They were doing their own new creative thing with a really cool main character and an intuitive combat system. It actually looked promising, but upon full release, that was not the case. Team was a pretty disappointing release. They might have some merits here and there. Some people will still defend it, and that's fine. But ultimately, if it was nowhere near
You okay, boy?
They technically did excellent Destiny after this, but that too really
You're a good boy.
slow decline, if you will. Next over to the this was almost a classic skateboard that you use to straight up, it just didn't work. Original games were all the rage, you know, Mario, Rock Band, all that stuff.
There, boy.
Things like you do the L and the Pro Skater, we're still feeling the bruises from that one today. Give it a cool idea, maybe almost a lot of people to skateboard a little bit, think like locksmith, but instead of that, I'll learn the cars, because like a legal thing for the skateboard. Maybe I'm spitballing. Maybe we got brand was out there when we were signing the game again for daughter, but yeah, I don't really stuff. Next over for 13, in 2010, we have Kick-Ass, the game. Yes, so let's go for Kick-Ass.
Billion dollars.
No, probably not. But we were super caught up in the Kick-Ass hype.
Yeah, you all right there, boy?
The fact there were games released on mobile and PlayStation 3, we were pretty hyped. Even if it was just a little bit of a movie passing, maybe it would be good. Kick-Ass people really did, right? But they didn't. This is a really cool top-down view of brawler games that was just completely lifeless, and this is what made the Kick-Ass property so special. There is an alternate universe where there is a Kick-Ass but unfortunately,
Good boy.
It was just long awaited. At the time, this was one of the more delayed games we had ever seen. The development talent, there was something there, right? Like there was a reason they kept sticking to it, right? You said no, we didn't really see that. What we got was just like a game of characters, ideas, lame jokes. And I think the most important thing is gameplay that wasn't really that fun. It brings even fast pace of the movement himself. Again, we gotta keep him alive. But Duke Nukem Forever ended up ultimately not even beginning to do that. Next over at number 11, in 2012, Game of Thrones. Yes, we straight up had a Game of Thrones game, and you probably don't remember that either. But we do, because we were excited about it. It was the early days of Game of Thrones as the television show on HBO. It kind of still felt like this cool thing that, like, you knew was awesome, and maybe you read some of the books, but it wasn't totally the worldwide phenomenon that it got on to become. So, with the announcement of a video game coming forward, it's a totally humble experience. It represented the books. It was developed by Cyanide and published by Atlas. While it wasn't based on the HBO series, it was specifically based on George R. R. Martin's books.
Rest of us out risking our necks,
So
so
really
this
became a
degenerate
big
the
thing
man
that
of
really
the
stand out.
claw.
There are things that are based on the books.
This game to do with a super trophy.
Whatever, that work out all the time. This was not it. It wasn't the worst game in the world, but it was completely lifeless. The combat was technically deep, but it just wasn't fun to use. And the presentation, the way the story went down, all of it was just really clunky. Game of Thrones in the video game world really got off to a rough start here, and we're still salty about it. Next over at number 10, in 2013, of course, you guessed it, we had Aliens Colonial Marines. This game was a colossal disappointment because it looked awesome. Good. The game ended up releasing a 4-stage, despite looking cool. People questioned it to be a false advertising type of thing, but whatever it was, it really just
Thanks, Mr. Pearson.
a first-person aliens game focused around the James Cameron style alien blasting sci-fi stuff in dark corridors. Could have been totally sweet, but ultimately what we got was a complete mess with lifeless aliens, boring combat, and lots of elements and moments that just felt rushed and half-assed. It was so disappointing to the point where a lot of people suspected something went on behind the scenes. The game just did not get the time or love it needed, and thankfully Alien and Aliens have bounced back from this game, but this one really hurt for sci-fi fans. Next over at number 9, in 2014, we have Rambo the video game. Now, this one you could say you were asking for it. Movie tie-in games often do not pan out, but something about this one before release just seemed like a cool, mindless, fun time. And honestly, a modern Rambo game, a shooter, something like that, could work out really well. It had the licenses, it looked like it let you shoot your way through all the iconic moments in the main movies, and what we ended up getting was an instantly forgettable, messy, on-rails shooter. Like it felt like an old busted arcade game. All I did was clip voice lines created in the movie and make for this repetitive, awkward play. I didn't want to believe it at the time. I read the bad reviews and said, yeah, I just want something mindless. I want to blow stuff up as Rambo, and I still bought it, and I still regretted it. Next over at number 8, in 2015, Alone in the Dark Illumination. Do you remember this one? Man, as Alone in the Dark fans, we were already licking our wounds from the last game, and this one seemed like it was the extra nail in the coffin that none of us really deserved. This was just like a co-op shooter. Why they decided to go in this direction, I have no idea.
Arthur Morgan.
That's probably why. You gotta do something with this brand, right?
You gonna pass out in your own shit again?
That pretty much had nothing to do with Alone in the Dark, and you really didn't deserve this one. Next over at number 7, in 2016, we had Mighty Number 9.
You been on the rum again?
Remember this one? It was a long-awaited Kickstarter game. The original Mega Man creator. It was billed to be like the second coming of the Lord himself. This thing seemed to be the spiritual successor.
Down on us right now, Sam. I wonder what goes on that earth. I never thought about it.
Just judgment. I mean, people
One day I'd have to go there.
And after many, many years, in 2016, it finally released, and it wasn't good. It was a clunky, not fun platformer that lacked a lot of the charm that the Mega Man games had. And something was just missing. Thankfully, Mega Man fans have been able to kind of bounce back from this one, but still, it really hurt at the time, especially if you're back there on Kickstarter. Next over at number 6, in 2017, we had Road Rage. And classic gamers such as myself had their eyes on Road Rage, specifically because it was like a spiritual successor to the classic Road Rash games, which were a ton of fun, just awesome motorcycle mayhem combat stuff. And Road Rage was not that. This game was an absolute mess. It was so glitchy, the worlds were like empty, you kind of just drive through stuff, and it made it not fun. It was not really a lot to it, and it seemed completely broken out the gate, and really not worthy of anything even close to the Road Rash name, let alone just warranting itself being called a video game. If it wasn't like us hoping for it to be the comeback of Road Rash style games, we wouldn't have even thought about it or mentioned it on this list, but that's how it shook out. Not so great for us. Now down to number 5, in 2018 we had Metal Gear Survive. I know we're putting this on the disappointed list, but like, were we disappointed? Did we see this one coming? Yes, absolutely. I think the thing we were most disappointed about was the fact that it was Konami dragging out the husk of the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine and the Metal Gear Solid brand, but just acting on the whole survival games trend. And this was a great. Even if it was somewhat playable, I think it's the fact that it had basically nothing to do with Metal Gear Solid, other than like the intro story where the character gets sucked into all the different things. I can't even the same story. I'm not even like the usual way it's just wasn't involved with this one. But this one was just clean. Down to number 4, in 2019 we got Contra Road 4. It was so exciting to see this first got shown off. Even if it was kind of different, it was just like, oh, cool, a new Contra film. It's been a minute. But unfortunately, when it released, we got a game that barely felt like Contra at all. Like, not only with the characters you could choose from, but then you could think, it was kind of like an isometric collaborative shooter. Those characters didn't really feel Contra-esque at all. The way they put the lead on them, it just the impact of the shooting, all the guns, all the weapons, everything was completely unsatisfying, and it just kind of felt like a soulless cash-in on the Contra game. It was once again another trying to do something with their games, but doing the absolute wrong thing. It was buggy, messy, unfun, unsatisfying, but most importantly, just not at all a Contra game and a total waste of time. Now down to number 3, in 2020, we got Fast and Furious Crossroads. This one was disappointing. I don't know, I feel like we all want a Fast and Furious game that's actually good. I mean, it lends itself to it. Fine places, good cars, racing, iconic characters, family. This game has it seems like another big deal. Vin Diesel appearing on stage at E3 or PS5 or something, specifically announced it, and then it completely disappeared, and then it just released. And it wasn't great. It was super short. It was just focused on cars crashing through linear levels that just really didn't have much to them. It felt kind of old school a little bit, like the arcade style, so we'll give it that. But ultimately, it was just another lifeless cash-in on something that we love. The actors reprising their roles were laughing. It sounds like they did it over cell phone calls. Because everybody involved completely, literally phoned it in. And Fast and Furious deserves better. I mean, you can call the series ridiculous and dumb, but it is one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. And they certainly could have a cool video game, and we were ready for it, but Crossroads was not it. Now down to number 2, in 2021, we got Battlefield 2042. You probably know the deal with this one if you're a more recent viewer. Battlefield 2042 was a disappointment. It was a messy, cynically made Battlefield game that just did not do anything for us. It released in a really glitchy, buggy state. Introduced like weird new character systems, and just ultimately wasn't as fun as it could be. Now, it was a disappointment because it felt like it was going to be the big comeback for the series. The previous one was a little divisive here and there, depending on who you ask, but ultimately this one they really doubled down on it being multiplayer only and focusing on big, fun moments that were just completely embraced by fans throughout the series. Big maps, recipes for chaos and disaster, new vehicles, rocket launchers, stunts. This was going to be like the platform that Battlefield would build upon, and it wasn't. Like I said, it was a total mess. It's still working to this day. It's still trying to patch it up. It might be better now, but regardless, when it released, it was such a disappointment. 2022, for us, the biggest disappointment was probably the Saints Row.
Yep.
This was a game that seemingly really hurt the legendary developers' volition at this point. The companies involved are moving on from Saints Row in headlines, and that's because the Saints Row reboot really just missed the point of what made Saints Row games fun. They're all about gang action and violence and lots of goofy over-the-top stuff, but the way they did it with this one, hard to put my finger on it, but it just didn't feel quite right. The jokes were lame and unsettled, that should have some humor.
No, seriously, this is perfect. The only way to be better is if you put on a jerk. Dinner at a show, baby.
Ultimately, it just ended up being completely cringeworthy, and all the cool weapons and over-the-top action moments that you loved from throughout the series were here, but none of them even came close to the awesome stuff in the previous games. Those crazy vehicles, the wrestling moves, dubstep gun, the running with your gang members, none of it felt as good here. It was like a pale imitation. And ultimately, after we made a video on it, we completely forgot about it because we were just that disappointed. But that was rough, and that was 20 years of disappointing games. Not the worst thing ever, but the games that broke our hearts. So we want to hear from you guys in the comments. What years in particular did you really have your games heartbroken? Were there games you really look forward to that were like an utter disastrous letdown? Let's talk everything about down in the comments. Now, if you loved talking about games with us today, all you got to do is click the like button. Thanks for hanging out. As always, we'll see you guys next time.
But there's a lot of things in this world that are pretty scary. Spiders, working in retail on holiday, make lotus pods, or the recent Sonic Boom trenders for poor souls with trypophobia. And if you thought that gaming is a safe space away from all these scary things, well, I'm afraid to tell you that that is not the case. And something like this, however, never seems to get the footnote about painting what the most focus on horror, safe and safe, rather than painting the
So,
After that, I will be the Joker's face instead. They can hallucinate like in a second. October the 31st. The cutscene of coming face to face with Man Battle play again and return to the DC to learn how to kill
take off. You get gone.
First two Metro games take place almost entirely within the Metro.
You listening?
Series of
Go away.
stations linked together. As after you find yourself on the boat and around the Volga, getting ended by the YouTube, you're almost hitting the bullets and so you're hitting the make that stuff scary. And when you have to flip over your boat, it's so far as you in once without spiders, blankets. It's a school going through a novel medicine gets probably not to flip for access, but let's go. They find you in this new romance focus. It's really nice, but it's not especially working on the states after the world. It's not as element of the others work. Inspired by the films above London, Russia, its gadgets is a focus on the shutdown of the silence, its tennis and roundabout, one it begins and back people to fight its illegal corporations and building stuff. It's mind controlled drones, and yes, the Iraqis are defensively hit, especially by some scary sky. Here the court's infamous reputation, the most controlled the world, has its influence, and its own division quotes of it, and perhaps at most, in its own. But my question is, when is the difference to happen? No, they wanted to use more than the best way because says with a podcast that it truly is. Sure, it's a lot of because it experience that they is a reason. Actually, one is really going to best in the extent of time. One of us is reviewing incremental effects of this spell. It's adaptable and irreversible.
Away from me!
Society, let's go to the ones why we sometimes the spell serves as simple purpose. It puts an end to the
You did, you son of a bitch!
centuries about building is finally inaugurated by the Ministry of Engineering, alongside two other axiom, caution gas, and Aero, mind control gas. These gases were deemed unforgivable because of their sadistic nature, and the general consensus among kinds was that these spells were too powerful and too cruel to be used freely in this life. The capacity to torture people, control them against their will, and kill them with a similar intention is just not something that's either unrecognized or punishable in society. And so, when legislation was finally passed by the ministry to name these three curses unforgivable, the strictest penalties were put in place attached to their use. Utilizing one of these three curses just one time could land you a life sentence to Azkaban. And this singular deterrent, albeit a strong one, was enough for most in wizarding society. Of course, unless the witch or wizard performing the curse was underage, a good trace, there's no way for the ministry to detect that these curses are being used. However, if you were suspected of a crime and went to trial, they would eventually be able to check your wand and confirm whether or not you cast the spell. And this is probably what stopped most criminals, besides the truly crazy ones, from using the spell. Before a wizard that's already committed themselves to one crime, jail time in Azkaban is hardly a deterrent. So why not use them? I've narrowed this down to a few reasons. One, it's not that easy to cast. If the committee's Defense Against the Dark Arts lessons taught us anything, it's that in order to cast any of the unpredictable curses properly, you need sufficient power behind them. But if God is a curse that needs a powerful commitment behind it, the little bit of that sound probably not needs other words, but plays and typically gets so much in those good. But it's not necessarily accessible for just anyone. Just because you're only it doesn't mean you can cast the spell effectively. However, to this point, I would argue that most, but not all of the Death Eaters do have enough magical power to cast it. But there is another bottleneck. In order to master any of the unforgivable curses, you must fundamentally align yourself with what the curse is trying to achieve. You need an unyielding desire to cast the spell. This is referenced by tricks in the order of the nuts. Whether you connect with your curse before Heavyborn, you need to mean them bottom. You need to really want to cause me to enjoy it. Not just angry and heavy pull on. I'll show you how it's done, shall I? And what this means is that you need to possess a deep, unrelenting desire to end a life. Which brings me to my next point. Moral considerations and stigma in society. The unforgivable curses are considered unforgivable, not just because of their effects, but because they represent the fundamental breach of creativeness. They are designed to cause extreme suffering, eliminate personal autonomy, and take life without justification. And so, mastering the unrelenting desire to end a life is not as straightforward as it may seem, even for a Death Eater. Uttering this incantation bears a certain weight. Even among dark wizards, this spell is a connotation of very uniform evil. There are dark witches out there that are evil through and through, like Voldemort or Bellatrix Lestrange. But there are also just followers that lack the same level of conviction or faith. It is not as straightforward as it may seem, even for Death Eater. Uttering this incantation bears a certain weight. And even among dark wizards, this spell has a connotation of irredeemable evil. There are dark witches out there that are evil through and through, like Voldemort or Bellatrix Lestrange. But there are also just followers that lack the same level of conviction or malice required to cast a spell like this. These other dark wizards, while certainly complicit in bad deeds, may be motivated by fear, ambition, or peer pressure, rather than a true desire for harm. And for them, casting a bardic dagger crosses an emotional boundary that they may not be prepared to cross. And furthermore, even in the muggle world, there are plenty of people who barely pass to kill, but don't necessarily want to do it. If it's avoidable and they can achieve that outcome through other means or less equal options, then many of them will go this direction. In terms of methods like intimidation, coercion, or hard-to-kill curses, might be preferred if it avoids the penalties and the consequences of outright murder. After all, ending a life is final, and even the most hardened individuals might hesitate and face without reality. This is why the Bible carries such a unique stigma, using it as an admission both to oneself and others, of crossing a line from which there is no return. It's not just a spell, but a declaration of intent, of purpose, and of irredeemable evil. And even the darkest wizards must weigh the psychological and symbolic cost of casting it. Ultimately, a bardic dagger is not just feared for its power, but for what it represents. Something that not every dark wizard, no matter how corrupt, is capable of doing. And that's the real power of the unforgivable curses. They don't just harm the victim, they transform the person casting it. To those dark wizards who are unwilling to bear the psychological toll of casting such a fundamentally evil spell, they may opt to instead use other dark and potentially fatal curses that don't require such a deep level of intent. And these alternative spells allow them to